All right, Alton, how you doing today?
Doing great, Jeff. Another edition of Digital Beercast. It's been a while.
It has been a while. It has
Life's
been a
gotten
while.
away a little bit.
I know, and it's funny that we definitely set out to have this going every week, and things start to catch up, and I think the last one, what did we do? It was around election time last time
I'm
we
telling
were
you. Yeah, it's been a
doing this.
while.
Yeah, it's been a minute. So welcome back on board. I'm
Yeah.
happy to do this again.
Hey, man, it's good to see you, man. It's always good to see you, Jeff.
Yeah. So I know you've been through a few beers since our
Yeah.
last episode.
I've been through a plethora of beers, but today I actually brought a unique beer,
Oh.
just to make sure y'all can see this appropriately enough. This is made by one of my favorite breweries out of Canada. It's by Unibrow. It's a French beer, French Canadian beer, and this is the Grand 17 Reserve. And typically, any beer that you get from this outfit they're unbelievably tasty, and you only need one. As the size kind of says it all. And then,
Yes.
of course, you really can't have a good cocktail without an equally good mug. This is a mug my wife got for me. It's got my name
Uh,
embroidered down there. So I'm breaking out all the stops
Classy.
since we haven't been together in a while.
And any beer that has a cork is definitely vintage. It's
Yeah,
definitely
this one's got a
top of the
cork.
line.
Watch out for your eyes with this one. There it is. There it is.
Well, cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I'm gonna have to try that. I've never heard of them and never had a beer with the actual. Well, I have had one with a cork. It overseas though, not here. So wow.
Well, and it's got a great pour to it, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful amber hue. Uh,
Hmm.
Nice frothy head on it. Just a great company. You really have delicious beers. They also have another beer called Le Fin du Monde
Mm.
that I really tried to score for our for Digital Beercast today, but they were out. So
Oh.
I guess there are more like me out there than I think.
Well, you definitely go far and wide to find the beers. Some that I've never, like I said, never even heard of. And that's what I guess makes this so great. We don't hear about these beers. Now
Well,
the one,
you got to step outside the box, Jeff.
no.
It's like with all things digital and all things beverage related. You just got to get out there and give it a whirl.
Definitely, definitely. Well, I come with one of my favorites. It's the Lion. What is it? Lion Hugel. I oh here
No,
we
it's a Leinenkugel. Leinenkugel.
Yeah, yeah. And this is the one with the grapefruit shandy.
Grapefruit shandy. Sure.
Really enjoy it. It has a real nice clean taste. It's light. Usually in the summertime when I get it, since it's nice weather this year, so far this week, I guess I'll go ahead and go light. They have several different flavors. Grapefruit's my favorite. They have pomegranate. They have lemon. They have different flavors. I think that's their thing. But for today we'll do grapefruit, and I have my trusty mug, frosted,
Oh, look at that. Breaking
fresh
out
out the
the
freezer.
stops with a frosty mug, are you?
Yes, yes. I don't think you appreciate the frosty mug until you've actually had it um, at an establishment where they do it. I mean, at first you just take it for granted. You say, "Oh well, yeah," but then when you finally get a beer in a nice frosty mug, the taste changes. It just amplifies everything.
And it really does set the whole thing off the right way.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I never realized it, especially back in the days when you were drinking straight out the bottle.
What are you talking about, Jeff? We've never done that before. We
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
Hey, we're a class act, man. We don't know anything about Mad Dog 2020. Come on now.
Oh, yeah. Or English. Woo.
You know, I'll
And
tell you
you,
what, I lived down south for a while, and I had a bunch of my buddies that swore that Warm Bush beer was really, really good. I thought they were
oh,
crazy. I'm like, that just sounds disgusting. But believe it or not, I tried it, and it was fabulous. I've never
really?
had it since, but and then again, I was also, let's say, a very late teenager.
Uh,
So I wasn't sure what beer was supposed to taste like, but Warm Bush beer, yeah, it's a thing.
yeah, I'm gonna tell you, I don't know if I can do that. And my first, I think I had was Milwaukee's Best when I was introduced.
Uh, the Beast,
Oh,
the Beast.
it'll make you stop drinking.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, it'll make you stop walking for a while. It'll just have to
That's
sit
the
down for a
truth.
couple hours. You know what I mean?
That is the truth. And I've graduated from there, so
Yeah.
I'm so
All
happy
right.
about that.
So Jeff, what's on the agenda for today?
So the first thing, a lot of businesses come to us about reviews. They
Yes.
hear about them, they want them. Usually when they get them, they're bad reviews.
Mhm.
So, they're wondering how in the world can I get more reviews and what does it really do? What does it mean to my business? So let's talk about reviews. First, on a high level, what it is, why is it really important? And then we'll get into a little bit of detail of the how. Just a little bit of the detail, though.
Well, something, Jeff, I could definitely tell you about reviews is that, about 80% of all searches start on mobile now, on a mobile device. And over 67% of adult users are looking at reviews to help them make their buying decisions online and even offline, whether or not you're going to go to a restaurant or, a store down the street. And I'd also like to say that I think roughly only about 25% of us are willing to write reviews. So it's
Yeah.
it's very slanted. Can we press pause, Jeff?
Oh, yeah, sure, sure, sure.
So Jeff, before that true life event just happened, of course, our audience won't know what that was. We were talking about how slanted it is between the amount of people that actually write the reviews versus the amount of people that read the reviews versus those that are actually willing to take the time and effort to put reviews up for businesses. And, knowing some of those statistics that I mentioned, I actually take the time and effort to write reviews for businesses that I've gone to because I know what it means to them. What do you see on your side for your clients, and what's your experience with the importance of reviews?
Well, I mean, reviews really go back even before digital. I mean, reviews used to be the comment box that you put comments. And even then, it was mostly when people wanted to complain, not really praise the business. And the
Right.
same thing happens now in the digital space. Now it's so easy because now you just pick up your phone and you just and blast them secretly. Nobody
Yeah.
even knows it's coming. And the companies are like, how do I combat that? And so they try to do a lot of things like incentivize positive reviews.
Mhm.
They found that difficult because it's like, well, what do I give away that's a value that will make a person want to review? Um,
Well, and you know what, Jeff, that's a very tricky line because the vast majority of the review sections and almost any reviews that you could get your hands on, they're going to tell you, hey, you know what? You don't want to incentivize, you want to earn the review.
yeah,
So boy, that's a really good thing that you brought up because normally what I tell clients is, look, in today's day and age, because everything's so transparent, right?
hmm
And you can't hide behind the corporate curtain anymore.
yeah,
So it's kind of forcing brands and businesses to change their evil ways, right? That's one. But two, on the other side of that, the best way, what I found, when you need to try and incentivize, don't give anything away. Don't give up an offer. Don't give 10% away, because that, in a weird sense, is a way to entice those things, and it takes away a lot of the real genuineness and the real honesty of what that transaction should be, which is, hey, you know what? I went to this company with my son last night. True story, called Meat and Potatoes, a little restaurant, and it was great. And I had a great experience. And they gave me this hat. And the very first thing I did when I got up this morning, boom, 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 boom. I'm writing this great review because you know what? They just treated me wonderfully.
Yeah.
So from a review perspective, it's got to be, you know, going for that real honest approach. Hey, Bob, give me a review if you would, because I know you had a good experience. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's really, here's the hard part.
Yeah.
This is the part that most businesses don't want to do, is building a relationship with your customers and clients.
Takes too much time.
Yeah, if you do that, you can get the reviews. So for instance, one time I was at a restaurant and the waitress was very good waitress. But the way she got the review was so great because what she did was she said, hey, you know, we really would love to have your review, but if you would like, I can sit here and take a picture with you for the picture for the review. And so I end up doing a review with a video of her, as this is a waitress that did an excellent job,
That's great.
outstanding, took the picture, did the review. So she ensured that I gave her a positive review. Plus, it built the relationship. So now whenever I go to that restaurant, Flip Burgers, I look for her. She did a good job. The review was good, and I'll give her a good review each time I go, unless she changes the way she does business. But that's just, it's built the relationship. That's what the reviews are all about anyway.
Well, so now, Jeff, I want to know, let's say, and I've never seen how this would work, but are you kind of suggesting that, okay, if you go to an establishment, you have this great experience and you continue to have this great experience, obviously it's not like you're going to go write another review. You've done your job.
Yeah.
But if that experience changes, are you going to go back in and revise your review and start taking away stars?
I wouldn't revise it. Let's say I went back and I had a bad experience with another waitress or waiter or the same one, I probably wouldn't revise it. I think that I may put another review up, but probably not. But this brings up a great point to what we're talking about with reviews. Reviews aren't just Yelp reviews or Google reviews or City Search reviews. Reviews are also social posts. I'd be quick to get on Twitter or Facebook and this is an experience. Very quick to do that. So, it's like stages of reviews. You have the reviews that everybody knows about, the Yelps and so forth. Those reviews, everybody hears about them because that's what they build their business model around, their algorithms around that.
Those top level reviews, yeah.
Yes. But the social reviews are just as important because not too many people I know of goes to Yelp daily to look at businesses and reviews, unless they're salespeople. People go on Facebook multiple times a day. People go on Twitter multiple times a day. Instagram multiple times a day. Your bad review or good review on those social sites hold a lot of weight because a lot of people are looking all the time for those comments. So, I would probably not change that old review because that experience is done. But I would be on Facebook saying, man, look at this. This is terrible. I have done that. I have walked up to managers before and said, look, I'm very unsatisfied. And if they didn't do what they needed to do, I'll Facebook Live quick. Facebook Live.
But there's also like, is there real practical application to reviews? So that's one of the things I get asked about all the time. Like, and as you and I are both big fans that, you should earn your reviews. There are ways, by working with companies like ours, where we can help you craft, messaging for getting new reviews and, client and customer outreach and how to develop a review plan strategy. And I think that's one of the newer components to good SEO, to good social media optimization, to really internet reputation management, which, we could spend hours on. Yeah. But I also think one of the other components, Jeff, that a lot of clients kind of miss out on is, well, okay, so if I get these reviews, does it mean anything for me from an SEO perspective? And are there social signals, right? So as you know, Jeff, I teach with a company called Imparture, and we cover analytics, and we cover the digital, and we cover the social, and so on and so forth. But my point is that that's one of the recurring themes is, hey, does digital really get a lift from social signals? And the answer is no. The answer is no, because your social signal is going to follow you in a linear path. If you're on Facebook, that's where your review is going to be. Mm-hmm. If you've got something that comes out of Consumer Reports or whatever, you're going to see those top line reviews. Mm-hmm. But as far as how that impacts your SEO value to the search engines, not so much. Why? Because Google doesn't crawl Facebook. Google and Facebook hate each other, right? Yelp and Google kind of really don't like each other either. For us, it really becomes a matter of like, we know we have to focus on it. We know that they're going to be disjointed, but here's the reality, Jeff. If we're able to create good, positive, warm fuzzies in multiple locations, and Jeff, you're going to bring this up about, how to repost by using Google Plus and Google Local, which I can't wait till you tell me about that. But all of this does have a brand lift effect, and all of this does have a positive impact for the overall brand, and really that's the primary objective.
It is, and somewhat, I'm going to go in a different path with that, in that the fact that, yes, Google doesn't look at Yelp as far as their reviews, but Yelp does rank often. And the funny part about that is, if Yelp's ranking for whatever you're doing, let's say you're a restaurant or you're an electrician or whatever you do, and their Yelp page ranks, it goes to that particular category, and their algorithm takes into effect the reviews in their ranking system. So if you're a plumber and you have good reviews and you're ranking top for plumbers in that area, and Google picks up Yelp for that particular area, that search result ranks number 1 or 2, and it's Yelp, and it goes to that Yelp page with that Yelp category for plumbers in that area. If you're ranking up high there, that's where you get that benefit. So yes, your website won't rank because Yelp gave you good reviews, but you can benefit from those good reviews in that aspect. So, it's kind of interesting how that works. People think that, a Yelp review is going to give me good Google ranking. Not necessarily, but Yelp has definitely, Yelp and what is it, Houzz and all these other ones have done a great job in SEO, leverage their expertise in SEO and rank within them so you can benefit from their ranking on the top pages. So that's, one of the things. And we'll get into a little bit later, we're going to get into how Google looks at their own reviews in their ranking system. So that's going to be interesting.
Well, and Jeff, that's like a perfect segue. So you were teaching me this newer trick. Now, let me preface this, because what I do know is if you're busy talking to Google, Google loves that because it's part of the freshness update and you're providing Google new information. So we know, let's say from that 40,000 foot view, that anytime that we have the opportunity to talk to Google on YouTube or Pinterest, I think is one of them, definitely in Google Plus. But now you were telling me that there's this new trick that you've got regarding talking to Google in a new way it's like super new, nobody knows about it. So let me hear it.
It's amazing. So everybody's so focused on Google's search results as far as the organic search results. They don't really even focus on the maps as much. And then, we had that wave where the Google Local, where people were optimizing for the maps. Well, Google has tried to find a way to combat with Facebook. Like you said, they are bumping heads. They tried Google Plus. Google Plus didn't take off as well as they thought. for Facebook. Well, now they've integrated posts within your particular Google My Business listing. So the My Business listing, for those that don't know, are the listings that you find in the Google Maps. They're also associated with your Google Plus account. So your My Business tells Google your local, brick and mortar establishment. This is where it's located. This is what you offer. It gives you the nice little screenshots of the location and so forth. So they have integrated ways to post.
Jeff, if I may, just briefly, let's not forget that what's so cool about those local listings, A, they're free, just in case our audience doesn't know.
Yeah.
And B, a lot of the times, if you set those up right, which we're going to talk about here in a second, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this is a good thing. If it's local, a lot of times, boy, those things pop up number one. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Going back to a point that you made earlier, 80% of people search on their mobile device. And when you search on your mobile device, those Google My Business listings usually pop up above everything else. So it's a tremendous benefit. Or in the words of your famous favorite person, it's huge. It's huge. So
I don't know if you're pronouncing that right, Jeff. It might be huge. Yeah. So let me get this straight. So and I did see this when they rolled it out, and it just came out. So just to clarify, now you're talking about in the local listings, you could start either, let's say, adding little promotional lines or call outs and updating those with some other additional things. What are you telling me? You said, get pictures in there,
Yeah, you can actually put pictures in there. One thing that they love pictures. They want to know pictures of your staff and pictures of motivational quotes and pictures of coupons and pictures of menus, and they love pictures. So adding pictures is important. Adding the text with the keywords in the text is important. It really associates your business with what you represent. So now you're most relevant for that particular whatever you offer, whether it's a product or service. So
and Jeff, that's brilliant, because really, dude, if you start tying that stuff in, because I do look at local as kind of like inexorably combined with reviews. It's just like politics, right? They say all politics is really, really local. Well, I think this is very much the same, especially if you're a brick and mortar with a centralized location or multiple locations. A, you've got to take over those reviews. Yeah. And B, now, like you're telling us, Mr. Marketology, we've got to go out there, we've got to utilize those absolutely free assets in order to better our reputation, our position, and get new clients in your business. Yeah.
It's so true. And I can tell you, matter of fact, I can pull it up. I can tell you I did something for a client of mine, a lawyer, where I updated his, and within 24 hours, he ended up ranking number one for his particular law firm in his area.
Hey, forgive me, just keep rolling and keep talking. I get a beer spill emergency.
Oh, yes. No liquor goes untouched. But yes,
well, it was an overflow of delicious frothy goodness.
The foam.
Yeah, the foam got me. We're good, but continue on, sir. So you're saying you did this for a lawyer?
Yeah.
And like lawyers need more help, but go ahead.
Exactly, but I mean, it was amazing because just doing the post boosts him from not being in his area seen for attorneys near me. That was the term, attorneys near me, and then attorneys Riverdale, Georgia, to being now number one for that result. And the funny thing is that was desktop and mobile. Wow. And the other thing is he had 117 people actually view his image, which was a simple image. I just put basically his information and his picture on a graphic. I put a joke, not really a joke, it was a fun fact about a legal fun fact. I put that for the text, and he had 117 people view it. He had 20 calls, and he had 25 people look for directions in
That's
maps.
impressive.
Yeah,
That's impressive.
all within in a week's time. You know,
Wow.
and so it was.
So Jeff, I gotta ask you. I mean, you're more on the social side. I mean, I do social, but not like what you do, which is why I think we're such a great team together and why I love you so much. But so where do you think when we're talking about having to manage social media marketing, social media optimization, what does this mean then? Does this mean, in your opinion, that hey, pay attention to this shit? Is this what you're saying now?
Yeah, because with SEO, the biggest thing that we've had a challenge in SEO is the time it takes to start to see some results. And a lot of times, depending on the competitiveness of the industry, that could be months. You know, with this is something that you can change overnight. Now, will it last? If you don't keep up with it, no. I mean, if your competitors start doing it and you're not doing it, then they're going to bump. But it starts to become just like social media. The guy with the best content, with the best engagement, will start to win.
Well,
So,
you know what, Jeff? It's really interesting because this makes sense. Like when I think about why Google does what they do, and it's very simple, right? The way I explain Google to people is that it's the world's biggest library that has ever existed in the history of mankind,
mhm,
very simply put. And if Google is all about delivering results as quickly as possible based on relevancy, then timing surely has something to do with relevancy.
yeah,
So if you're out there doing a lot of this publication, a lot of this push notification, like you're telling me, Alton, dude, go do this for all your clients right now because that's what you're telling me to do. So it's like one expert telling another expert, hey, baby, I wouldn't be telling you this. And this is why Digital Beardcast, this is why we exist, to tell our audience stuff like this, why people need to watch.
yeah,
But if you're telling me, hey, dude, there's a relevancy factor, there's a timing factor, there's a push factor. And then I'm sitting here on the other side of the table going, you know what? I get it. Because if Google wants that timeliness and relevance, and that's one of the quickest, most expedient, fastest ways to do it, man, it logically makes sense.
it does. And the interesting part is, like you said before, Google loves when you talk to Google. They want to keep it all in house. So if you're in the search results and somebody finds you, what better way to communicate with them than right there versus having them go to your Facebook page and see what you're doing on Facebook, see what you're doing on Instagram. You can show them right there with your search results and your listing exactly what you're doing. If you have
You
specials,
know,
whatever you're doing.
Jeff, that insight could be exactly why Google did that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because obviously Google's got a hate relationship with Facebook. I mean, it's not like they're even pretending about it.
Yeah,
If they could buy Google out, or they could buy Facebook out, they'd do it. Or if they could push Facebook off a cliff,
yeah,
like the way MySpace went, thanks,
yeah.
Justin Timberlake, good job. Uh, and I love you, JT, brother. I'm sure you're going to watch a show, but that's really, really fascinating. So in kind of closing this side of our discussion now, what is the big takeaway for you, and what is the big takeaway for our Digital Beardcast audience?
Well, I would say the biggest takeaway would be to get on board while it's new. Before it gets saturated, a lot of businesses you'll notice don't even have their Google listings claimed. I mean, they don't even, Google already has you indexed. There's no escaping that, but they don't claim it so they can control it. And then the second thing, just like with any other social media, you need to have good content and be consistent. A lot of times people say, well, why would I hire somebody to do this for me? It's because they know good content and they can be consistent. Because if you're running your business, you may not have time to think about what to write and put it up on a consistent basis. So you need to have good content, be consistent, and get on board now, because once it starts to get competitive, Remember when SEO was new back in the
I
2000?
actually do. I was in the space then. Yeah.
What did you have to do to rank?
Not
Just
much. Not much.
title tag and keywords.
Yeah, title tags, some keywords, and that was it. As a matter of fact, I remember being able to rank websites without title tags, without keywords, without H1 tags, and very little content.
Yeah.
And then as I saw that progression, obviously it's gotten so much more complicated, and so many fucking things we have to deal with on a regular basis. But Jeff, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I really want to back you up in saying, why do you need people like us to run stuff like this? Well, when you think about it as a small business owner, Jeff, you're a small business owner with Mr. Marketology. I'm a small business owner with Searchology. In our own little businesses, when we aren't working with clients, we've got 1,000 of our own things to do. Taxes, overhead, paying for laptops and cool doohickeys and, reporting suites, and the list goes on and on, right, brother? Well, if we switch that around, think about our clients, you, Mr. and Mrs. Client, that you most certainly don't have time. And if we have absolutely established that timing is a factor, publication is a factor, when, where, what, who, how, what the message is, if all of those things are becoming factors and it's such a small, tedious part, it makes it even that much more important to go, you know what, hey, we're going to throw this in the hands of the professionals. They're going to do, and you know what, brother, we just created a package right there. All we do is local listings, and all we do is reviews. We package those up. We go chasing down for our clients. They've got nothing to worry about. Mr. and Mrs. Bob Client, you are done. Rest well, my friends, because like us have you covered. So, that's great stuff, Jeff. What kind of moving on, because we run on beer time.
I know.
We run on beer time, which is we try and get our episodes done in one beer, but of course I've got the bigger beer, so there's that.
I actually had to get 2 bottles to match your 1.
I always say go big or go home. Jeff, it's interesting. And just to kind of pause one more thing up, I'm thinking, they say that fortune favors the brave or fortune favors the bold. Either way, it kind of works out. And I think that might actually be from Shakespeare. And I think that you're right. I think there's a first mover. There's a first mover thing. And I think that those companies that really kind of harness this on the front end and really kind of shake it loose, I think they're going to be in a much better position than those that aren't, those that don't. So what's next on our hot list today?
Well, the next thing that we have on the list would be, let me see. Hold on, I'm pulling up the agenda. We were talking about social influence. And how the social influence has actually changed over the landscape of marketing. So,
well, I think let's sum up the social influencer, because I got some breaking news coming across my brain type. It's coming across through one ear and out.
I gotta get the producers to put a ticker that goes
right. Yeah, I just need a ticker that just runs across this big old forehead. I think from a social influencer standpoint, we do know that Facebook does not influence Google. We do know that Twitter might. We do know that Twitter is absolutely crawled and indexed. We know that Facebook is crawled and indexed to a certain point, and then it stops, right? But we know that we can definitely help influence the SEs, the search engines, but Google specifically. And ladies and gentlemen, one of the reasons why Jeff and I focus so much on Google is because at any one given time, they control 75, 80% of the US search market.
Yeah.
So we don't care as much about Bing. And here's the other thing. When we're talking about audience segmentation, we're talking about DMA. Who's the real demographic of these SEs, the search engines? Google primarily is professionally based. Bing and Yahoo are primarily consumer based. However, even the numbers don't jive up, because when you're looking at Bing and Yahoo, they're ponies that are hardly in this race anymore. And if Yahoo keeps doing what it's doing, it's going to be totally irrelevant, which is kind of sad. Even though you can't get mail from Yahoo. Anybody? AOL? No? All right, forget about it.
Hey, it's funny because I thought they already were out the race. I
Yeah,
mean,
you know,
they're more like a news source now. Just like hey, I want to keep up with the news. I'll go to Yahoo and look at the news.
no, it's that Yahoo is actually one of the world's oldest directories. That's
Yeah.
what Yahoo started out. So our point is, and wrapping up with the social factors before I get out to the big news bleep it a bleep thing, is simply this. You know, look, we know that we have to go out and target multiple locations in order to try and influence anything on Google. But what I believe, Jeff, and back me up here if I'm not correct, what Jeff Beal is saying is that, look, if we take advantage of the local listings, if we take advantage of, you know, Google Plus and items of that nature and push, but don't sell, right?
Yeah.
There's a big difference.
Yeah.
We want to push, but we don't want to sell. It's probably going to have a much better impact for us. And your case study with that lawyer is pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
That's like really impressive stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, going back to what, social, the word social means to socialize, to nurture. It's not to sell. If that was the case, it would be called cell networks instead of social networks.
Right. Hey, let's go to a social network to be sold something, because I can't wait to do that.
Exactly. So, it's
Jeff, I can't help but think I've got somebody knocking on my door. Hey, I got this great doohickey. It's the new grabber bob. So help you grab stuff. Don't you want to buy it?
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
But yeah, that's really how it works. I mean, Google, they are in business to help show more business to people that are looking for it. So if you understand,
it's relevancy. Speaking of which, Jeff, because you and I are authorities in the search, it's interesting. I've read this, and I don't want to go off on a tangent, brother, because we'll be here all night, and I don't have enough beers. Well, I'd have to go get the warm bush lights from the garage.
Oh, not the warm bush.
But this is fascinating. So I read a recent study by Pew Internet, and ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that don't know Pew Internet, they are the absolute authority on internet data, internet research. So go to Pew Internet. I think it's pewinternet.org, or just look up Pew Internet. It'll blow you away. And Jeff, to your point, I just did an event with Imparture in Detroit, and we were talking about why people use social, and of all the things that Pew Internet said, and they did this big huge deal and they said that people go and use social networks to A, be social, B, be social, C, be social. You know what I mean? C, keep in touch with friends. B, keep in touch with family. B, to communicate. C, to share political ideas and opinions. But out of that big, huge, fat, very short list, it comes down to one thing: they go there to be social. So for you and I, if we tell our clients, you know what, hey man, go to these social networks and go be social. Go give them the best that you've got, but don't ever sell. And me personally, I think that's the best approach to social.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I'm preparing for a conference I have coming up, and in the research, there was a fact from Statista that was saying that about, I think it was like 90%. I had to pull up the fact, but it was around 90% of people that talk about brands do not go to the brand's actual page or profile. Do not go. So they talk about it and they're social about it, but they don't go to that. And I think that has a lot to do with the way that the brands are communicating with the audience. They don't want to go there to get sold, but they want to talk about the products or the services with friends, and they'll mention the brand itself, but they don't go to the brand page. And that's because I think the culture of brands have not grasped that social aspect. Because when you go to their sites, a lot of times they're talking about the new sales and this and that.
Yeah.
They're not really socializing.
Well, but Jeff, so that's God. I love you so much. So you bring up an unbelievable point, which is when you're talking about Fortune 1000, Fortune 500 brands, most of those brands don't even respond.
They don't.
90 to 95% of those social brands, it boggles the mind. I mean, if you're going to have a presence there, you're really going to want to pay attention to that space and engage. You want that engagement. I mean, everybody talks about engagement, yet nobody can define engagement. I said to my class just the other day, I said, okay, somebody tell me what engagement was. And I got I don't know, nobody, but that's what engagement is. When you've got the brand, you've got the company, you've got the entity going back and forth and having this dialogue.
Yeah.
But the vast majority of companies don't do it because they're geared to sell.
Yeah. Yeah, the old school.
Run down the money hole. Boom.
Yeah, the old school model. And the funny part is they can afford to have a department that does nothing but engage with the audience. I mean, that's all you do. And think about this. This is the funny part. Any teenager could do it because they already mastering social media. And all you got to do is say, look, whenever somebody comes on our page, engage with them. And that's it.
Yeah,
they do it
that's all you gotta do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and Jeff, I gotta drop a truth bomb for us by a dear friend of mine, BJ Mendelsohn. He wrote a book called Social Media is Bullshit. It's one of the best social media books you could ever read. It's about this thick. And during our next digital beer cast, I'll show you the book. He signed it for me, so I'm kind of famous.
Cool.
But BJ Mendelsohn, absolutely fabulous. And what he talks about in there is that, all these companies have hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars to throw at, social media departments. But our regular clients that are $2 million, $5 million, $20 million companies, they don't have those resources.
Yeah.
So you've got Volkswagen, you've got Ford, you've got GMC, Taco Bell, Wendy's, McDonald's, those guys could throw a buttload of cash at this stuff.
Yeah.
And even yet they do nothing with it.
Exactly. They do
It's a
nothing
write-off somehow. It's just some crazy ass write-off,
They do nothing but advertise, and they say, well, here's an ad campaign. We're going to take this money and we're going to put it toward these posts. And then we're going to put this money toward advertising these posts. So the bulk of it goes toward Facebook or Twitter or Google in advertisement spend, but it doesn't go to saying, let's segment this portion of it to just have a team that all they do all day, which would be an ideal job for a lot of these millennials. All you do all day is just socialize on social media with people.
And Jeff, I'll tell you what, I think we've got the segment for our next show, which should be entitled How to Use Social Media 101.
Yeah.
The don'ts of social media. And what are these words that we throw around like engagement really mean? And what is the real impact of social? And how do we measure it? And what are the KPIs that we need to look for in social? I think, dude, let's spend an hour on that one next week.
Sure.
And so here's the news flash before Jeff and I have to go. The big news flash, beep, 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 is Google, in their infinite wisdom, has changed the page description length, meaning your old page description used to be 150 characters to maybe 165 with spaces, give or take. And they moved the level from now 200 to 320 characters for a page description. So Jeff and I could spend all day talking about that. But until next time, right, Jeff? I think that time is coming up. Just glad hey, Jeff, on a personal and professional note, man, absolutely. Great to see you, buddy.
Cheers.
I missed you. Come on, man. We
got to keep this going. I mean,
damn fun, man. Really.
Yeah, and that's another topic we can talk about as far as with the Google description, how to properly optimize your.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Well, you guys, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching Digital Beardcast. For myself, Alton James Duderstadt at searchology.biz.
Yes, and
Always
Jeff,
happy to have you. And for Mr.
Marketology, Jeff Bill with the Marketology Group. We want your feedback. We need your feedback. Please let us know what you think. Like it, share it, but let us know what you think. We want your reviews. That's what we want.
Yeah, what the hell? Make it happen.
Exactly, because without that, we can't provide you the valuable content that you need to help grow your business. So the more you engage with us, that's that word again, engage, the more we engage with you.
Yes, sir. Jeff, God love you. Until next time, sir.
Until next time, cheers.
Horse.